Dear shareholders and esteemed participants, the moment we've been waiting for has arrived. The 2024 Annual Stockholders Virtual Meeting of PAL Holdings, Inc. is about to commence. Please ensure you're comfortably settled in your virtual spaces and your devices are ready for our proceedings. We're excited to delve into discussions, share insights, and collectively steer the course for PAL Holdings, Inc.'s future success. Thank you all for joining us, and let's make this virtual gathering a productive and memorable one.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is now 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Our Chairman and President, Dr. Lucio C. Tan, has requested yours truly, President and COO of PAL Holdings, Inc., to preside over today's meeting. I therefore hereby call the Annual Stockholders Meeting of PAL Holdings, Inc. to order. I would like to welcome all stockholders present at today's meeting. May we request our Corporate Secretary, Attorney Cecilia Pasaico, to explain why we are holding today's meeting by remote communication.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. For the safety of everyone, our meeting today is being convened via the Zoom webinar app. For the information of all present, this meeting is being recorded in accordance with the requirement of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Mr. Chairman, if I may, and for record purposes, I would like to call out the names of the directors of the corporation who are present in this meeting. We have with us today Dr. Lucio C. Tan, Mrs. Carmen K. Tan, Mr. Lucio C. Tan III, Ms. Sheila T. Pascual, Mr. Stanley K. Nang, Mr. Huchiniro Miyagawa, Mr. Jonip G. Kua, Mr. Jerome S. Tan, and Mr. Ramon D. Dizon. Also present are the executive officers of the company, Ms. Susan Lee and Ms. Juanita Tan Lee, who are all on hand to address any inquiries that may come up at today's meeting.
May we now request our Corporate Secretary to please show proof that stockholders were duly notified of this meeting.
Mr. Chairman, in accordance with Rule 20 of the Securities Regulation Code and in consonance with the notice of the Securities and Exchange Commission to publicly listed companies dated February 23, 2024, the notice for today's meeting was published in the business section of two newspapers of general circulation, the Philippine Star and Business Mirror, in print and online format for 2 consecutive days on May 8 and May 9, 2024. In compliance with the requirements of the SEC, the last day of publication, which was last May 9, 2024, is at least 21 days prior to today's meeting. We have on record the affidavits of publication issued by the Philippine Star and Business Mirror. Also, I would like to confirm that the notice of this meeting, together with the information statement, management report, and financial statements, were posted on the corporation's website and the corporation's PSE Edge profile. I therefore certify that the stockholders were duly notified of today's meeting.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. The next item in the agenda is the certification of the existence of a quorum. Madam Secretary, do we have a quorum for today's meeting?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, a quorum is present. According to the guidelines that we have circulated to the stockholders, the last day for registration for today's online meeting was on May 20, 2024. Based on our tally of those who successfully registered online and the validated proxies and powers of attorney on hand, the number of shareholders present and represented by proxy are shown on the screen. I therefore certify as to the existence of a quorum for the valid transaction of business at today's meeting.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Before we proceed, may we ask our Corporate Secretary to briefly discuss, for the benefit of all those present today, the rules for the conduct of our meeting today and the voting procedure to be observed?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the voting rights of each stockholder and the requirements and procedure for participation and voting through remote communication were provided under Item 19 of the Corporation's Information Statement and the guidelines on Annex B of the Information Statement that we have circulated to the stockholders. For the record, I would like to summarize the meeting protocols and voting procedures to be observed at today's meeting. First, stockholders who have completed the registration procedure on or before May 20, 2024 are allowed to participate in today's meetings and are deemed present for purposes of determining the quorum. Second, the stockholders were given until May 28, 2024 to send us via email at phwebinars@ltg.com.ph their questions regarding the items in the agenda. In the interest of time and for the orderly conduct of business, questions received on or before May 28, 2024, which we deem relevant to today's meeting, will be addressed, while the rest of the questions and those received after the deadline will be responded to by email. Next, the matters submitted for voting at today's meeting are: A. Approval of the minutes of the 2023 Annual Stockholders Meeting. B. Approval of the management report and the audited financial statements. C. Ratification of all acts, transactions, and resolutions by the Board of Directors and Management since the 2023 Annual Stockholders Meeting. D. Amendment of Articles 3 of the Articles of Incorporation to change the principal address. E. Renomination of Mr. Jonip G. Kua as Independent Director. And F. Election of Directors. And G. Appointment of External Auditor. Next, we are utilizing voting by proxy form and voting in absentia for this meeting. For this purpose, stockholders were given until May 20, 2024 to accomplish and submit their proxy forms to phi_asm@pnb.com.ph. Stockholders who have successfully registered and voting in absentia were given until May 21, 2024 to submit their voting ballot form. Validation of proxies and tabulation of votes were completed on May 24, 2024. Lastly, we wish to remind the stockholders that this meeting is being recorded in video and audio format in compliance with the requirements of the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Let us now proceed with the meeting proper. The first item in the agenda is the reading and approval of the minutes of the previous meeting of stockholders. Our last annual stockholders meeting was held on May 25, 2023. Madam Secretary, were the stockholders apprised of this item in the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. A summary of the matters approved in the last stockholders meeting is set out under Item 15 of the Information Statement, which was made available to the stockholders. A copy of the minutes of the 2023 Annual Stockholders Meeting was also uploaded in the corporation's website on May 30, 2023. Since the contents of the minutes of the 2023 Stockholders Meeting have been disclosed, it is proposed that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of the 2023 Annual Stockholders Meeting held on May 25, 2023, and approve the minutes as appearing in the corporation's records.
The proposal is noted. Before we tally the votes on this item, may we inquire from the Corporate Secretary whether we received any inquiries on this matter?
Mr. Chairman, there were no questions received online regarding this matter.
Madam Secretary, may we know the tally of votes on this matter?
Mr. Chairman, we have on the screen the tally of votes and validated proxies on this matter. Based on the total votes received, more than a majority of the stockholders of the corporation present at today's meeting approved the minutes of the 2023 Annual Stockholders Meeting held on May 25, 2023.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Based on the report of the Corporate Secretary, the minutes of the 2023 Annual Stockholders Meeting held on May 25, 2023 is hereby approved. Madam Secretary, let the minutes reflect the tally of votes on this matter. Before we move on to the next item in the agenda, our chairman would like to say a few words. Allow me to read them to you. Dear shareholders, some time has passed since the world was engulfed in pandemic turmoil, significantly impacting the aviation industry and travel. By streamlining our operations and initiating restructuring plans, we successfully navigated the challenges as we stayed on course with our recovery process. Now, just a few years removed from those difficult times, we reflect on 2023 as a landmark year in terms of financial performance. The year was marked by rapid growth, expanded operations, increased passenger traffic, and enhanced products and services. Our comprehensive income saw a notable increase, rising from $196.8 million in the preceding year to $378 million in 2023, achieving a historical milestone for Philippine Airlines. I am immensely proud of our leaders and employees for their remarkable achievements this year. The heart that they put into work is truly commendable and deeply appreciated by our valued customers and stakeholders who have offered their steadfast support to our company. Their support propels us for long-term growth and allows us to maintain our role as the country's sole full-service airline with the most extensive international network, further contributing to the Philippines' economic resurgence. While the future may present new challenges, we remain hopeful and positive, while grounded in a thoughtful awareness of potential risks and obstacles. This mindset cultivates resilience and empowers us to intelligently assess opportunities and navigate unpredictable turn of events. I wish to convey my appreciation for the continued support and trust extended by PAL's customers, stakeholders, and partners. It certainly fuels our dedication and motivates us not only to ensure the success of our company, but also to serve our nation and our fellow Filipinos by creating jobs, supporting livelihoods, and facilitating connections with key global markets. As we continue on our journey, let us keep prioritizing the care and satisfaction of our customers, delivering the exceptional service they cherish and deserve. As the nation's flag carrier, let us always remember that our actions reflect back on our country and must therefore uphold honor and pride always. Thank you and mabuhay. The next item in the agenda is the report of management for the fiscal year 2023. In 2023, Philippine Airlines marked a stellar year as we attained our strongest financial performance yet, against the backdrop of vigorous operational expansion and increased domestic and international passenger traffic. Notably, our comprehensive income surged from 11 billion pesos in the preceding year to 20 billion pesos in 2023, marking a historical pinnacle for PAL. This substantial growth contributes directly and significantly to the nation's economic prosperity. By December 31, 2023, PAL continued to maintain an international route network to 39 cities across 16 countries. We opened 2 new routes this year, Manila to Perth and Cebu to Lawag, alongside the relaunch of 13 other routes. Looking forward, we are preparing to launch the Seattle to Manila route in October, giving us the distinction of being the pioneering carrier to connect the Philippines with the U.S. Pacific Northwest. Seattle will become PAL's 6th destination in the U.S. and 8th in North America, further expanding our extensive network of non-stop flights between the Philippines and the United States. This strategic move aims to stimulate both business and leisure travel, catering to the growing number of American visitors to the Philippines and the substantial Filipino-American community in Washington and Oregon. By supporting tourism and enabling family reunions, this initiative underscores our dedication to enhancing travel experiences and strengthening economic ties between the U.S. and Asia. In 2023, we expanded our operations significantly with a total of 105,294 flights conducted, marking a substantial 36% increase from the 77,533 flights operated in 2022, thus representing an addition of over 27,000 flights. This heightened flight activity facilitated the transportation of 14.7 million passengers throughout the year, thus reflecting a notable 58% surge from the 9.3 million passengers transported in 2022. By December 31, 2023, the airline maintained an operational fleet of 78 aircraft. In anticipation of future passenger demand and potential route expansions, we acquired 9 A350-1000 long-range aircraft as part of our ongoing fleet expansion efforts. In 2023, PAL achieved a system-wide on-time performance of 76% and maintained a remarkable 98% schedule reliability throughout the year. Recognized for its punctuality, PAL secured the second-place ranking for most on-time Asia-Pacific airlines in December 2023, as bestowed by Cirium, a leading international aviation analytics firm renowned for its comprehensive punctuality analysis within the aviation industry. Throughout the year, PAL upheld an impressive on-time arrival performance of 77.46%, encompassing approximately 105,000 recorded flights across its global network. PAL remains committed to maintaining its exceptional on-time performance standards beyond 2023. In 2023, PAL continued to enhance its legacy of customer-centric service by implementing new customer relationship management team aimed at providing personalized passenger services. We introduced PAL DNA, emphasizing customer obsession as a core attribute among all PAL employees. This means we are prioritizing customer satisfaction at every level of the organization, thereby influencing all decisions and actions towards enriching the customer experience. We enhanced our cabin services and introduced new products and features both in-flight and at airports. We strengthened our operations at Ninoy Aquino International Airport, NAIA, by deploying extra baggage vans and transfer service buses to streamline turnaround processes. We likewise started operating the newly constructed Super Mabuhay Lounge in NAIA Terminal 1 and the Cebu Domestic Mabuhay Lounge in NAIA Terminal 2, while also reopening the Mabuhay Lounges in Cagayan de Oro and Puerto Princesa. Through the Philippine Airlines Corporate Social Responsibility Arms, the Philippine Airlines PAL Foundation Inc., PALFI, we extended assistance to an estimated 233,477 individuals, equivalent to 46,695 families. Collaborating with various government agencies and non-governmental organizations, we expanded our outreach efforts to further aid those in need. Aligned with PAL's commitment to achieve net zero by 2050, the measures implemented in 2023 to reduce CO2 emissions included transitioning to renewable energy sources for major facilities, updating ground service with low-emission vehicles, and implementing innovative fuel-saving measures by the flight operations team. The PAL Group is dedicated to providing a safe, reliable, and comfortable travel experience for PAL customers while conducting operations in a sustainable and responsible manner. In 2023, our Mabuhay Miles program underwent a digital transformation, introducing new online features that enable customers to sign up seamlessly during ticket purchase and to convert their miles into points with program partners. By December 2023, the Mabuhay Miles program had over 5.7 million members, predominantly from the Philippines and the United States, with additional members across Asia, Australia, the Middle East, and Europe. I invite all stakeholders to take advantage of the benefits offered by the Mabuhay card to continue supporting the program in the years ahead. Finally, I am extending my sincere gratitude to our customers who have chosen to fly PAL and who recognize the dedication and commitment of our PAL Group team members. Your support and loyalty are deeply appreciated, and we remain committed to ensuring your satisfaction every time you fly with us. I commend our excellent management team at PAL for expertly navigating industry challenges. Indeed, our most valuable assets are our people. As we continue on our journey, we will continue to maintain healthy collaborations with the government and all our partners to further strengthen our network in the years ahead. We dedicate our efforts to build on our resources and introduce new and improved products and services to meet the evolving needs of our customers. At this point, may we request the Chief Finance Officer to render the financial report?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to present to you the financial highlights of your company's consolidated financial results for the year ended December 31, 2023. Our external auditors, CICIP Gores Velayo and Company, issued an unqualified opinion on the consolidated financial statements for the said calendar year. For the results of operations, your company has reported a total consolidated operating income of 28 billion pesos in 2023, a significant increase of 11 billion from previous year's operating income of 17 billion pesos. The total comprehensive income amounted to 20 billion pesos in 2023, higher than last year's comprehensive income of 11 billion pesos. Consolidated revenues improved by 29% from 139 billion in 2022 to 179 billion in 2023, brought by significant increase in passenger volume by 5.4 million, from 9.3 million to 14.7 million due to high demand for air travel. Total available seat kilometer, or ASK, has reached 43.7 billion in 2023 as against 34.5 billion in 2022, an increase of 27% with passenger load factor increasing by 8.8 points from 72% to 80.8%. Total number of round trips was 52,647, an increase of 36% from last year's 38,767 round trips. Consolidated operating expenses increased by 24% from 122 billion pesos in 2022 to 151 billion in 2023, mainly due to the increase in flying operations expenses by 13%. Fuel consumption grew by 8% since the number of flights operated increased by 36% in the current year, even as jet fuel prices decreased. Higher aircraft utilization, ground handling, and landing takeoff charges, higher passenger food and in-flight provisions, and passenger service system fees caused the increase in other major expenses such as maintenance, aircraft, and traffic servicing passenger services and reservation and sales. For the statements of financial position, the company's consolidated total assets as of December 31, 2023 amounted to 219 billion pesos, 7% higher than last year's 206 billion. This was driven mainly by the increase in total current assets by 12.5%, as cash and cash equivalents and short-term investments grew significantly on improved operations and collections of receivables. The increase in non-current assets by 3.5%, or 5 billion pesos, is mainly due to the increase in property and equipment resulting from pre-delivery payments on the firm order of 9 Airbus A350-1000 with delivery in years 2025 to 2027, and the leaseback of 4 previously returned aircrafts. Consolidated total liabilities decreased by 6.8 billion or 4%, mainly due to payments of long-term obligations even as total current liabilities went up by 12% due to the increase in unearned transportation revenue. Consolidated equity improved significantly to 33 billion pesos as of December 31, 2023, from 12.8 billion the previous year. This was brought about by the consolidated net income earned during the year, which in effect reduced deficit by 79%. For our current performance, for the first quarter of 2024, consolidated revenues grew by 8.5% from 42.2 to 45.8 billion pesos, mainly driven by increase in passenger volume. Passenger revenues increased by 7% to 40.3 billion pesos compared to 37.6 billion in same period last year. This, however, did not cover the increase in consolidated operating expenses by 12% due to the increase in flights operated, resulting to higher flying operation expenses by 9%, and effectively increasing the other expenses as well. As a result, we reported an unaudited comprehensive income of 5.13 billion pesos for the first quarter of 2024, slightly lower by 6% compared to the same quarter in 2023. This is an expected outcome as global travel patterns are getting back to normal after the post-pandemic surge in 2023. Lastly, we are happy to report that the Philippine Securities and Exchange Commission has given their approval on our application for an increase in authorized capital stock from 13.5 billion pesos to 30 billion pesos last April 15, 2024. On behalf of our major shareholders, directors, officers, and staff of your company, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. Madam Secretary, were there any inquiries received regarding the management report which was circulated to the stockholders?
Mr. Chairman, there were no questions submitted online regarding this matter.
Since there are no questions, let us proceed with the approval of the management report as reflected in the annual report together with the financial statements of the corporation for the year ended December 31, 2023. You have just heard the President's and CFO's report on the results of operations as reflected in the corporation's annual report. Copies of the annual report, management report, and the audited financial statements for the period ending December 31, 2023 were made available to the stockholders via the corporation's website and PSE Edge profile. Madam Secretary, kindly present the proposed resolution for this item and report on the tally of votes for this item in the agenda.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. On the screen is the proposed resolution for this matter. The tally of votes and validated proxies is also on the screen. Based on the total votes received, more than a majority of the stockholders of the corporation present at today's meeting voted in favor of this matter.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. With at least a majority of the stockholders present at today's meeting voting in favor of this matter, the management report, as reflected in the annual report, together with the audited financial statements for the period ending December 31, 2023, is hereby noted and approved. Madam Secretary, let the minutes reflect the tally of votes on this matter. The next item in the agenda is the ratification of all acts, resolutions, and transactions of the Board of Directors and management of the corporation from the date of the last annual stockholders meeting up to the present as reflected in the minutes of the meetings of the Board of Directors. A summary of the acts, resolutions, and transactions of the board and management from the last annual stockholders meeting is contained in Annex C of the information statement. The acts, resolutions, and transactions were discussed and approved in the meetings of the board and its committees are covered by minutes which are on file with the Office of the Corporate Secretary. These minutes are available for inspection upon the request of any stockholder. Before the tally of votes on this item, may we know from the Corporate Secretary whether we received any inquiries on this matter?
Mr. Chairman, we have not received any question regarding this matter.
Since there are no questions received regarding this matter, Madam Secretary, kindly present the proposed resolution for this item and the tally of votes.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the proposed resolution for this matter is shown on the screen. We have tallied and validated the following votes cast via proxy and remote communication. Based on the total votes received, more than a majority of the stockholders of the corporation present at today's meeting voted in favor of approving all the legal acts, resolutions, and transactions of the Board of Directors and management of the corporation from the time of the last annual stockholders meeting on May 25, 2023 up to the present date.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. With at least a majority of the stockholders present at today's meeting voting in favor of this matter, the acts, transactions, and resolutions of the Board of Directors and management from the date of the last annual stockholders meeting up to the present, as reflected in the minutes of the Board of Directors, are hereby approved, confirmed, and ratified. Madam Secretary, let the minutes reflect the tally of votes on this matter. The next item in the agenda is the amendment of Article 3 of the Corporation's Articles of Incorporation to change the principal address of the corporation. May we request the Corporate Secretary to explain the proposal to our stockholders?
Mr. Chairman, we would like to present for approval of the stockholders the amendment of Article 3 of the Corporation's Articles of Incorporation to reflect the change in the corporation's address from the 8th floor PNB Financial Center, President Diosdado Macapagal Avenue, CCP Complex, Pasay City, Metro Manila, Philippines, to Lucio Caytan Jr. Center, Philippine Airlines, PAL Gate 5, Andrews Avenue, Pasay City, Metro Manila, Philippines. The proposed amendment to Article 3 of the Corporation's Articles of Incorporation is flashed on the screen. The change in the corporation's address is proposed due to the transfer of the corporation's subsidiary, Philippine Airlines, to the new address. It will be more efficient for the corporation as the parent company to hold office in the same building as its subsidiary.
Before we tally the votes on this item, may we hear from the Corporate Secretary whether we received any inquiries on this matter?
Mr. Chairman, we have not received any question regarding this matter.
Since there are no questions received regarding this matter, Madam Secretary, kindly present the proposed resolution for this item and the tally of votes.
Mr. Chairman, the proposed resolution for this matter is shown on the screen. We have tallied and validated the following votes cast via proxy and remote communication. Based on the total votes received, stockholders representing at least 2/3 of the corporation's outstanding capital stock voted in favor of amending Article 3 of the corporation's Article of Incorporation.
Thank you, Madam Corporate Secretary. With the shareholders owning at least 2/3 of the outstanding shares voting in favor of the matter, the amendment of Article 3 of the Corporation's Articles of Incorporation is hereby approved. Madam Secretary, let the minutes reflect the tally of votes on this matter. The next item in the agenda is the approval of the renomination of Mr. John F. G. Kua as Independent Director of the Corporation. May we request the Corporate Secretary to explain this item in the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. John F. G. Kua has served the maximum cumulative term of 9 years as Independent Director under the Code of Corporate Governance for publicly listed companies. The Code of Corporate Governance, however, allows for extension of the term on meritorious grounds. In the meeting held on March 21, 2024, the Nomination and Compensation Committee has evaluated the eligibility of Mr. Kua vis-a-vis his contributions in discussions at the meetings of the board. The Nomination and Compensation Committee noted that Because of the wealth of experience and professional background of Mr. Kua, the Board of Directors regularly seeks his opinion and advice on various matters relating to the business operations and finances of the corporation. His advice and guidance help the corporation navigate through the pandemic and the new business landscape post-pandemic. With that, the committee members unanimously agreed that Mr. Kua's continued participation in the board meetings will benefit the corporation in the long term and thus endorse his renomination as independent director for another year.
Before we tally the votes on this matter, may we know from the corporate secretary whether we received any inquiries on this matter?
Mr. Chairman, we have not received any question regarding this matter.
Since there are no questions received regarding this matter, Madam Corporate Secretary, kindly present the proposed resolution for this item and the tally of votes.
Mr. Chairman, the proposed resolution for this matter is shown on the screen. We have tallied and validated the following votes cast via proxy and remote communication. Based on the total votes received, more than a majority of the stockholders of the corporation present at today's meeting voted in favor of approving the renomination of Mr. Jonip G. Kua as independent director for the year 2024 to 2025.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. With at least the majority of the stockholders present at today's meeting voting in favor of this matter, the renomination of Mr. Jonip G. Kua as independent director is hereby approved. Madam Secretary, let the minutes reflect the tally of votes on this matter. The next item in the agenda is the election of directors for the year 2024 to 2025. May we request the Corporate Secretary to report on the nominees for directors for 2024 to 2025?
Mr. Chairman, before we present the nominees for directors for 2024 to 2025, in compliance with the requirements of Section 49 of the Revised Corporation Code, allow me first to present a summary of the compensation report of the members of our Board of Directors. With that, let me now present the nominees for directors for 2024-2025. I am pleased to report that in a meeting held on March 21, 2024, the Nomination and Compensation Committee has approved the nomination of the following 9 individuals as directors of the corporation for the year 2024 to 2025. Dr. Lucio C. Tan, Mrs. Carmen K. Tan, Mr. Lucio C. Tan III, Ms. Sheila T. Pascual, Mr. Stanley K. Nang, Mr. Katsuya Goto, Mr. Jonip G. Kua, Mr. Jerome Tan, and Mr. Ramon Dizon. I would like to further report that nominated as independent directors are Mr. Jonip G. Kua, Mr. Jerome S. Tan, and Mr. Ramon D. Dizon. The profiles of the nominees are set out in Item 5 of the information statement, while the summary compensation table of the top 4 executive officers, directors, and other officers of the corporation are provided in Item 6 of the information statement. Related party transactions and directors' self-dealings are discussed under Item 5E of the information statement and Note 18 of the notes of the corporation's consolidated financial statements.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Madam Secretary, did we receive any questions on the lineup of nominees for the board?
Mr. Chairman, there were no questions submitted online regarding this matter.
May we now hear a report from the Corporate Secretary regarding the votes on this item in the agenda and the proposed resolution on this?
Mr. Chairman, after tallying the ballots and proxies received, which results are currently flashed on the screen, and considering there are only 9 nominees for the current 9 seats in the board, with each of the nominees having received votes in their favor, we would like to report that all the nominees are effectively elected as directors of the corporation for the year 2024 to 2025. The proposed resolution regarding this matter is shown on the screen.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. I hereby declare that the 9 nominees are duly elected as directors of the corporation for the year 2024 to 2025. Madam Secretary, let the minutes reflect the tally of votes on this matter. The next item in the agenda is the appointment of the corporation's external auditor. May we request the chairman of the audit committee, Mr. John G. Kua, to report on the external auditor appointed for 2024 to 2025 as approved by our audit committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon to all the stockholders present today. By way of a background, I would like to remind our stockholders that the authority to appoint, remove, and replace the external auditor was actually delegated by the stockholders to the Board of Directors at the 2007 Annual Stockholders Meeting. Such delegated authority has not been revoked or withdrawn. In accordance, however, with Recommendation 9.1 of the Code of Corporate Governance for Publicly Listed Corporations, the corporation's Corporate Governance Manual, and the Charter of the Audit and Risk Management Committee, the external auditor appointed by the Board of Directors upon recommendation of the Audit Committee is now presented to the stockholders for ratification. For the record, I would like to cite the criteria that the committee used in endorsing CSIP Gores Velayo and Company, or SGV and Company, as external auditor. Among others, the committee evaluated the performance of the accounting firm of SGV and Company for the past year and took into account its history of service to the corporation and knowledge of the industry, its auditing skills, and the quality of its audit work, and of course, the reasonableness of its fees compared to other audit firms of the same size and reputation. On that basis, we have endorsed to the board the reappointment of SGV and Company as external auditor of the corporation for the year 2024 to 2025. The reappointment of SGV and Company was approved by the Board of Directors last April 29, 2024, and is now being presented for ratification of the stockholders. We have invited the SGV partner in charge of the corporation's account, Mr. Albert Bond, to be present at today's meeting to address inquiries, if any.
Thank you, Mr. Kua. We would like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Albert R. Bond at today's meeting. May we inquire from the Corporate Secretary whether there were any questions regarding the nominated external auditor?
Mr. Chairman, there were no questions submitted online regarding this matter.
May we request the Corporate Secretary to present the proposed resolution for this item and report on the tally of votes?
Mr. Chairman, the proposed resolution on the appointment of SGV and Company as external auditor of the corporation for the ensuing year is shown on the screen. The tally of votes and validated proxies for the matter is as follows. Based on the total votes received, more than a majority of the stockholders of the corporation present at today's meeting voted in favor of the confirmation of CSIP Gores Velayo and Company, or SGV and Company, as external auditor of the corporation for the year 2024 to 2025.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. With at least a majority of the stockholders present at today's meeting voting in favor of the matter, the confirmation of the appointment of CSIP Gores Velayo & Co. as external auditor of the corporation for the year 2024 to 2025 is hereby approved. Madam Secretary, let the minutes reflect the tally of votes on this matter. I believe we have discussed all the items in our agenda. May we inquire from the Corporate Secretary if there are any other questions received from the stockholders?
Mr. Chairman, there were no questions submitted online.
Since you have no other questions or matters to discuss at today's meeting, this meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you to all the stockholders who have taken the time to attend the meeting today.